All right, guys, went back today to talk about Bear Creek Arsenal and my long history with Bear Creek Arsenal. I initially started purchasing some of my very first ARs and upper assemblies from BCA about 8 to 10 years ago. Honestly, it's hard to remember. It's been that long. Since then, I've been shooting and reviewing their products on YouTube, either ones I've bought or ones they've sent me. After a few years of reviewing them independently, I reached out to Bear Creek Arsenal to see if I could get some T&E models, and then we developed a working relationship where I review most of their new products that comes out. So I want to just start off with that so you guys know my relationship with Bear Creek Arsenal, although it won't sway me in this overview whatsoever. This is not a review of a specific product, but a review of kind of their product lineup in general and what they offer, their strengths and their weaknesses. The other cool thing about Bear Creek Arsenal is they've created a code 704 Tactical for 5% pretty much everything off their website. Now, it's not valid on certain items like things they don't produce and certain sale items, but you'll always want to input the code 704 Tactical to try to save yourself 5%. They've got a lot of good deals. So let's start off with how I originally discovered BCA and really what I think is the greatest value that Bear Creek Arsenal offers. And what I was looking for when I first started was an 18-inch or 20-inch 223 Wild or 556 barreled upper assembly that was capable of shooting very good groups but at affordable prices. Now, BCA, in my opinion, is known for their barrel quality and their accuracy out of their barrels. And the very first Bear Creek Arsenal upper I bought was when they just created their website. Before then, they were distributor only, and I purchased, I still remember, a 223 Wild stainless steel upper assembly with 416R stainless steel. It was an 18-inch barrel with a quad rail, and out of the box with match grade ammo, that barrel shot half-inch groups all day. It was reliable with all brass cased ammo. At the time, they were recommending you don't use steel. I still believe they recommend that, but I do use steel. We'll talk about in that reliability section of this overview. But ever since then, every stainless steel 223 Wild barrel I got from Bear Creek Arsenal has been insanely accurate. I mean, way more accurate than the money suggests. A lot of their 223 Wild upper assemblies are sub $300, then stack my code on top of that, and you're going to save yourself even more money. So the very pinnacle or peak of high value precision comes from Bear Creek Arsenal 223 Wild stainless steel barreled upper assemblies, and the rail systems are kind of varied throughout there. The other thing I want to discuss are kind of the rail systems and build quality besides those barrels. So their barrels are on point. If you decided, oh, you just were building up a rifle and you already had an upper and a rail system and you wanted to grab a high value barrel for a precision build, the 223 Wild barrel would be great. The rail systems surrounding the barrels over the years have changed and evolved over time. Are they my favorite rail systems ever? And the answer is no. That's where Bear Creek Arsenal, I feel like, could do some slight improvements, but honestly, they have improved over the years. So they are getting better and better, and they're a good quality rail system. But again, we are talking about complete upper assembly, sometimes as low as $220 or $230, depending on the sales. And in fact, even some of their 7.5-inch and 10.5-inch upper assemblies drop sub $200, complete with BCG and charging handle. Then you stack my code. We are obviously not getting a Geisley rail or a Daniel Defense rail on your upper. They have to get those prices from somewhere. The other cool thing is Bear Creek Arsenal, I believe, makes almost exclusively all of their stuff in-house, including their rail systems, so you're getting made in the USA components. The rail systems feature QD slots and M-LOK slots along the sides, tapered down handguard versions, monolithic pick rail versions, and a few other versions. And why I say they're not my favorite, sometimes I've had screws over the past 10 years walk loose on the mounting screws on the handguards. Not this version, but the version that had 2 on the side, 2 on the bottom, and 2 on the other side, or a hexagon pattern or a quad pattern of screws. Some of those would walk loose, and I would talk about those in the review. Now, what I've done now, every time I get a Bear Creek Arsenal, I check the torque specs and I tighten everything down on the rail systems. And honestly, since about a year and a half ago, I haven't had to tighten any screws. It seems like they have new torque specs and quality specs in place. That's the other thing about Bear Creek Arsenal. They seem to have gone through ebbs and flows over the years in their quality department, and right now they're taking quality seriously, so you can buy with confidence, in my opinion. At least that's what I've seen on my end. But then again, there have been some quality issues with screw torque specs on the rail systems in the past, so I do want to bring that up. And that is what it is, and that's kind of the history of it. Bear Creek Arsenal has also stepped up their game in the fact of QC of a few different other areas as well. They're putting a lot of care and time into their build process, and it shows a little bit better than it did 3 or 4 years ago. Again, still though, keeping that high value price. The other thing I want to discuss about BCA rail systems is they never quite match the anodization to the uppers to the rails. Not sure why that is, but I complain about that every time I do a review. You're going to get a slight color variation between the rail systems and the upper assemblies. For me, I couldn't care less when I'm talking about building a high value and budget precision build. Again, I'm not spending $1,000 on the upper assembly. We are talking about sub $300 most of the time, and I can overlook that. But I did want to bring that up. Now I really want to discuss a few different variations of the chambering when it comes to reliability, and then we'll talk a little bit about the charging methods that Bear Creek Arsenal offers available on their website. Again, this is an all-inclusive review of everything that BCA offers, and right now we're just focusing on general specs and features. The first thing I want to discuss about that is going to be that the 223 Wild chambering does not like running steel-cased ammo. The 223 Wild chamber has the chamber tolerances of a 223, but has the pressure tolerances, or actually the pressure specifications, to run 5.56 high-pressure ammunition. So it's the best of both worlds when running brass-cased ammunition, but it falls short with steel-cased ammunition. Don't worry though, Bear Creek Arsenal offers almost the exact same upper assemblies from 223 Wild and 5.56, and even though they don't recommend steel-cased ammo, the steel-cased ammo works perfectly in the 5.56 upper assemblies, and I've had really good luck with accuracy out of those. But again, if I'm building up a precision build, I'm not running steel-cased ammo, I'm running brass match ammo, and then I'm plinking with ammo like from Callaway Ballistics or something like that, which is still getting really good groups out of the 223 Wild upper assemblies, so something to consider there. The other thing I want to discuss in bulk before we start talking about caliber specific things and reliability is the fact that they offer 3 to 4 different charging methods. They have the original traditional rear charging method. They have the side charging method, which is the Generation 2, which you see here. The Generation 1 had a lot of issues with the actual knob itself unthreading during firing. Now you could put Loctite in there and tighten it up, but then you had to remove that screw to remove the BCG, and it caused more problems that way for disassembly. What Bear Creek Arsenal has done is updated the charging system to Generation 2, and everything on their website for the past 2 years has been the Gen 2 charging handle, which is the hook style shape that bolts in, and you can still unthread this, and you don't necessarily have to use Loctite to hold it into place. It does a much better job. So again, you can see Bear Creek Arsenal improving and adapting and changing over the years. So if you heard 3 or 4 years ago from your buddy, oh, don't get the side chargers, the knob falls off. Well, they've updated that, and I wanted to account for that in this video. They're working out rock solid. What you're looking at here is just the side charger, and we talked about just the rear charger. Now they have dual charging and left side charging handles, so you can actually charge with the charging handle and the side charger, and the list goes on and on. They also started offering bufferless designs in rear charging and side charging in the 9mm variety, as well as a few other versions that we'll be hopefully looking at and reviewing more in depth in the future. The other thing I want to discuss is the fact that they just released their brand new lineup of AR-10s, and they are blowing me away at the quality and performance. You can see this billet lower on the AR-10 works out insanely well down at the range when it comes to reliability, fit and finish, and ergonomics. They are doing some great stuff. And that leads me to my next point, the calibers. Bear Creek Arsenal is the king of calibers. If you thought about getting an interesting caliber like 300 Blackout, 6.5 Grindel, 224 Valkyrie, the list goes on. They got 9mm. I think they're doing 22 250, 308. They just keep producing calibers. 22 long rifle, 22 mag, 17 HMR. These guys just nonstop produce a ton of different calibers for their rifles. And if you wanted to try out a caliber on a budget for a specific task or a hunting application, you can do it on the cheap rather than spending a ton of money. Maybe you want 300 Blackout or 6.8 SPC or 6.5 Grendel, or I'd be naming a caliber they don't have. But if you're interested in a specific caliber for a specific task like hunting applications, you'd be remiss not to check Bear Creek Arsenal's website for a high value and budget upper that you can already drop on pretty much any lower you have available. I've done a lot of compatibility testing with the 15 lineup, meaning everything that fits on an AR-15 lower fits on every AR-15 lower I've ever tried. No compatibility issues whatsoever. You do start running into compatibility issues with the 308 lower assemblies and 6.5 Grendels, but a lot of times they fit those lowers. You'll just have to kind of play around with it. In summary, Bear Creek Arsenal is doing really good. I've had no issues with reliability when it comes to running a wide variety of ammunition, except for the steel cased ammo in the 223 Wild Chambers. I do want to clarify that one. They run, they're accurate, they work, and they are affordable. You will have some negatives though, like we talked about in this overview, and I didn't pull any punches because I want you guys to understand exactly what you're getting. But I will continue to purchase and I will continue to review the ones they send me on my channel because I love BCA, especially when they keep budget conscious wallets and budget conscious bank accounts in mind to help you get the best bang for your buck down at the range. All of the information, as well as the code 704TACTICAL for 5% off your Bear Creek Arsenal, will be in the description below. I'm kind of doing this video now because I had to purge a lot of Bear Creek Arsenal upper assemblies reviews from the channel because of all of YouTube's new policies. So I'm restructuring things, I'm pulling out old stuff, and it's a great time to do good, solid overview videos so you guys understand what you're getting. But you can always check out my channel for the full reviews that I've done in the past. You can check out my Rumble channels for the ones I deleted. You can also follow me on my Patreon page for deal alerts, as well as my 704 Tactical Instagram page and my 704 Gear YouTube page as a backup. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.